Hi everyone, welcome to the bank holiday weekend here in the UK. Just for a change, we haven't got rain and we've got some sunshine, so I've been making the most of the weather. Been out in the garden, taking the dog for a walk. I thought I'd just come and spend some time with you to share how I made one of my cards using the new Ticket Tape-tastic Do. What a mouthful. The shows that was on Create and Craft last week that Phil was bringing to you, they're great sentiments, and if I can get all of them, excuse me, just lobbing over. There's 5 sets altogether, so you've got the Occasionals, which is the one that I'm using today, the Essentials, the Family, which has got all of the like daughter, dad, mum, and the ampersand. The Motivationals, which are exclusive to Phil and Julia Watts, and the Acclamational, which has got all of the explanatory words like wonderful, special, marvellous, cutie pie, which I know is one of Ilona's favourites. Right, so they're the stamps. Like I say, the one that I'm going to be using today is the Occasionals. And this is a wedding card. So I'm using on your wedding day, congratulations, and to you both. The card that I made was sent off for the television, so I'm going to try and show you a picture of it. Can't get my words out. Show you a picture of it on my iPad. I do apologise if you get the glare. Oh no, oh, just a little bit. I'll tilt it like this so you can see that you've got the raised panels here and they're embossed. The background here is embossed as well. And the flowers here I made from the Perfectly Plain and the Lacy Loveliness. But today I'm going to be making them out of vellum. And we're going to be using the new, if I can lob over and get them, the stamps to fit inside the floral finery. So you've got the stripes and you've got the dotty one, but today we're going to be using the stripy one, and these go lovely with the floral finery, and these are the Perfectly Plain ones. So you've got 4 square shapes and 4 3-petaled shapes, and we're going to be using a combination of all of those. So we'll come to that later. So this is the card that we're going to be reproducing. Sorry about the light reflecting on it. All that I'm changing are the flowers here. So let's get on to it, and I can show you the sizes and the card that I used. Make sure I sit on my seat and don't fall on the floor. Right, so the card base is 21 by 21. So that's the card base. And I've made this with an A3 card, but you can make it with the A4. You just have to make a hinge at this side. So you would cut one piece to 21 by 21, and the other one you'd cut by 21 by 22.5. So it'd just be slightly longer. Score it at 1.5 centimetres and then join the front to the back. So you just have a hinge just there. But like I say, I've used an A3 piece of card for this one. So that's the card base. And the next layer is from the coffee bean card. So that's what I've used for this one. And this one is cut to 20 centimetres by 20 centimetres. So just to get those out of the way, I'll put these together. Now, I decant the premium PVA glue, Phil's glue, into a small applicator. I just find it's easier for me to put on. But you can decant it from this into this. So that's the glue that we're using for this one. So I'll add this all the way around, and as you can see, it just lets you put a small amount on there. So we're going to put this centrally onto the card base and smooth it down in place. So that's the first two pieces put on there. The next piece, which is the warm stone. So this is what we're using for the next layer. And this one is 19 by 19 centimetres. And this one is going to be put on flat as well. So let's get that put in place. Just gets all the pieces of card out of the way. And we've started putting it together. Just make sure that I'm still in shot. Yeah. So you're doing this centrally again. So you're just gradually building up the layers. You can put these on foam tape if you want, but the rest of them, the panels and everything are all layered up. So I didn't want to put too much dimension onto it. The next piece that we're going to do, got all my pieces ready for you, is ice white card. So make sure you've not got too much glare on there. So this is the ice white card, and it is 18 centimetres by 18 centimetres. And what I've done with this one is I've just used the classic Flourish embossing folder and put it through the die cutter and embossed it with the classic Flourish. So this one is 18 by 18, and all I've done is gone round the edge, used the fine nozzle round the edge of the PVA glue, and then I've sprinkled it with diamond dust. So again, this one is going on, let me just check my original picture. Yep, this one's going on flat. So take the measurement off there, add glue on the back. Again, you could raise this up if you wanted to, but I'm not going to for this one. And stick that in the centre. You can wait until the cards finish and decide where you want to put your glitter around the outside. But as I was getting this prepped ahead, and I didn't want to go and, yeah, I'm quite prone to putting my fingers in things that are wet, I thought I would do this in advance. So there we've got the card base starting to take shape. Right, the next pieces that we're going to use are these pieces, and this again is cut from the coffee bean card, and for this one I used the Elegant Eyelet DL dies, and the one that I've used for this one, let me take it out, is that size. So it's the third from the centre. So that's the one that I've used, and I've cut 3 of these pieces. So it's the 4.3, that's the width of that particular die, and you need 3 of them. So that's those, and they are going to go on foam tape. So we're going to stick those in. I put the foam tape on already, so you didn't have to watch me doing that. So let's take the backing off those. And what I do is I do the centre one first. So if you do the centre one first, you can then line up the outside. Whereas if you start this side, you'll probably run out of space by the time you get over to the other side. So start with the middle one. I always find that that's a good tip and helps you get them lined up properly. So let's take the backing off of these. And you want them to be lined up. So I find that turning the card on the side, I can eye it up better. So you want it to have an equal space between there and the outside of the card, and you want them to run in line. If you wanted to put a ruler against them, you could and butt it up to them, but normally you can just eyeball it. And we go for the last piece. Take the backing off. And remember, you're going to have it level with the ends of it and equal spacing either side of it. So you will have then just, I keep opening it, make sure I've got it the right way. Let's throw all those pieces in the bin. So we've now got those 3 panels and they're raised up. Can you see that? Yeah, you can just see underneath that they're raised up. Now, the next layer is from the warm stone. And again, you want 3 pieces to go on top. And to make sure that you've got an even border, these are can't think of the word. They're points of, they've got millimetres as well as centimetres. Really tongue-tied there. So you've got 3.4 centimetres and 14.4 centimetres. This just gives you equal space around the edge, and you can still see the eyelets. So those 3 pieces are 3.4 centimetres by 14.4, and this is from the warm stone. So you want 3 of those. And these, again, are going to be flat. So we can glue these in place. Again, with the PVA glue. And glue those on. And just rub it down. We'll add the other 2 pieces as well. Again, like I said, you can put these on foam tape and raise it up, but the sentiments are going to be raised, and you've got the flowers as well that are raised up. So I didn't want to put too much dimension onto it. Right, the next layer, put my glue on, lid on my glue. The next layer I've done in luster card, and this one is the Snow White luster card. So it just gives it a little bit of a sparkle. I don't know whether you can see it shimmering there. Put it in the light, see if you can see that shimmering. It can do a little bit. And what I've done with these is I've embossed it with the heart lattice folder. You can line it up quite easily with the hearts so that it's even both sides. I've got a line of them running down the middle, and you can do that. You could do all 3 together. So that's with the heart lattice, and the size of these is 3 centimetres by 14. And like I say, you want 3 again, and it's the Snow White luster card. So these again are going to be flat. Just make sure when you glue them on that they are going in the right direction and that you've got your card in the right direction. Because I know many of us have made Australian cards where it opens the wrong way. So you've got the hearts going that way and you've got the card opening. So we'll just put the other two on. Again, you don't need, with a small applicator like this, you'll find that you don't really use much glue at all. So again, even border round the outside. And then we've got the last one. You could add glitter to this layer, but I'm not going to. You could colour the edges with a Distress Oxide, but again, I'm just going to leave it plain. Right, there we go. Then we've got the panels in place. So you can see now that we've got the basis of the card. Let me just get the picture of the finished card up. So you can see now that we've done the 3 panels in the background, and we're now going to work on the sentiments. So, like I said, we'll put this to one side so that we don't get that dirty. I was trying to find room on my craft desk. So bringing in the stamping platform, and like I said, we're going to be using the Occasionals Ticket Tape-tastic, and we're going to be using On Your Wedding Day, Congratulations to you both. You can chop these up so you can make your own sentiments up, but we're going to use them as they are in here. So this is a good way of using up all of your oddments of white card. I don't know whether you're all like me. I have loads of offcuts. So this is ideal to use all of the oddments up. It's good for cutting out your flowers as well. And what I always do is I have a piece of acetate. The dot there is to show me that this is the right side. So this side you always have up. So that if you have any ink on your stamps, when you put it onto your card, you're not going to get it transferring. And I'm not sure if you're like me, but sometimes they'll stick to your finger and they'll move about. But with this piece of acetate, you can move it about. Instead of having to put the lid down, then peel them off again, you can put it on the piece of acetate and you can move the acetate around so that you get these in the right place. So let's just get them how we want them. They're going to be cut out so that you can level them up. So we've still got them on the acetate. Then all we're going to do is close the lid and lift it up, and then we're going to take the acetate away. So the acetate goes to one side and that's done its job. Now, with this being a smaller piece of card, all I've done is I've butted it up into the corner and I've used the magnets to keep it in place so that if we need to go in for a second stamping, we can do. But with Versamark or with an embossing ink, you don't normally need to go in twice. I'm going to be using the WOW embossing pad this time, but like I say, Versamark will do just the same job, just that I have this one to hand. And all you're going to do, let me try and move this across, is you are going to ink up the sentiment. Make sure that you've got enough ink on there. And we're going to, let me put the lid on that. Oh, before we do that, it's a slow drying ink so that you don't have to be too quick to get it on the card. We're going to use an anti-static bag. This just takes all of the moisture off your fingers and oil off your fingers that transfers to the card, and then your embossing powder will stick to your fingerprints on the card. So the anti-static bag just takes away that. Don't worry about the residue on there, that won't do any harm. So we're just going to press down Don't press too hard, and we're just going to transfer the ink onto the card. Now you won't be able to see very much. I don't think you're going to be able to see it even if I bring it up, but it is there. So we'll take this off now and make sure you don't touch where the ink is. We're going to put the stamping platform over to one side, and I'm going to bring in a piece of copy paper. Got the anti-static bag all over the place. So we're going to bring in the copy paper, and we're going to put the embossing powder over the top. So sprinkle it over the top. And this is the rose gold embossing powder. And you can see there that it's not caught one side, so we can just go in, scoop a bit more up, and scoop a bit more up. There's not many pieces there, and if you do get some pieces that get stuck, then you can get a paintbrush and you can just lightly brush it away, or you can gently tap on the back and get rid of any excess, but don't hit it too hard because otherwise it'll come off. So what we'll do now is we'll just put the embossing powder back in the pot. Put the piece of paper to one side, and remember, put the lid on your embossing powder. So what we're going to do now, it's going to be slightly noisy. I'm going to take my heat gun, and I use the Wow embossing heat gun, and it has 2 heat settings. You've got the slow one and the faster one. I always use the faster one, and when you first switch it on, you need to heat it up before you start. So just put your hand in front of it, but be careful because it is quite hot. It doesn't take long to warm up, and I heat from underneath because the finished effect that you get on the embossing is smoother. If you go over the top, it's more dimpled. I'll see if I can do them both ways so that we can see if we can see much difference. Apologies for the noise. So warm it up on your skin first, and then I'll see if I can show you. Takes a little bit longer when you're doing it from underneath because obviously it's got to go through the card before it gets to the embossing powder. But once it's gone, don't stay on the same piece, move on. And then the next one I'll do from above. Put the gun to one side. Now I don't know whether you can see on this or not. This one was done underneath, and you can see that the lettering is really quite smooth. Get up as far as I can. That one is really, really smooth, whereas this one has got a bit more texture to it. I don't know if you can see that. So this one's got more texture, that's done from the top, and this one's done underneath, and it's smoother. So all we're going to do with these is cut it out so that you've got a border round the outside, and then you're going to mount it onto the warm stone just with another little border, and then onto the coffee bean. So you end up with all of your sentiments. Oops, upside down. Make sure we don't put it on the card upside down. With all of the sentiments there that have been embossed. Now these are going to be raised on the card, so I have put the sticky pads on the back. So we'll bring our card back in, and again make sure you get it the right way round, and we're going to add the words. So we're going to do congratulations to you both on your wedding day. So we're going to do it overlapping the panels and in the middle. So you're best to lay them out first because you want an even amount here and here. So that one can go down a little bit more, and that one. And I think we're ready now. So again, I would always put the middle one in first. So take the sticky off the back. And you want that in between the other two. And then I'm going to do it midway in between that panel as well. So we'll go on to the congratulations. Get the backing off. And we're going to have equal spacing at the top there and equal spacing there. And the last one is the on your wedding day. So take the backing off this one. And again, look at this border and this border. And we're going to put that on there. Throw these bits in the bin. So now this is starting to come together. So you can see that we've got those pieces raised up. And then the panels are raised up as well. So now we're just going on to the flowers. And for the flowers, we're actually going to be putting these onto vellum. I don't know whether anybody has used vellum before. The embossing powder heats up really quickly. So you have to be really careful. And if you overheat the embossing powder on the vellum, it will actually crack off. So I have done the flowers in advance because when you add the wet glue to this, they'll curl up, and you'll see that as we make this one that I'm going to show you. So these have been left to one side to dry. I've added the gem into them, let that dry, and I've shaped them with a bone folder. So I'll show you how to do that one. So again, with the vellum, you need to dust it with your anti-static bag, because this will pick up extra pieces of your embossing powder. And obviously when you're doing these, it's really on show, so you don't want any odd specks on them, because otherwise you'll easily see them. So make sure we've got plenty on there. And again, we're going to be using the clear sticky ink, and like I say, I'm using the Wow. And we're going to use for this one the Dreamy stamp that fits inside the Perfectly Plain Floral Finery dies. Put that one back in place. Now I find that it's easier to stamp first and then cut out afterwards. So all we're going to do with this one, and I'll show you the biggest one so that you can see it clearly, is we're going to add the embossing ink, and we're going to place it down. Make sure that you leave room round the edge of it for the die to go on it. And you probably can't see that. I don't know whether you can or not. But the sticky ink is on there. So we're going to be bringing in our piece of paper again so that we can collect all of the embossing powder. And like I say, this is the rose gold. So sprinkle that over. And we can see with that, it's really clean. There's a little bit there that we can dust off. But other than that, really clean lines. And you've not got any stray specks there. So we'll put this back in the pot without spilling any. Famous last words. So we'll put the piece of paper over to one side, put the lid on, and we'll heat. Again, you can do this from underneath or on top. I tend to go on top with vellum because it solidifies so quickly. You don't really need to go underneath. So I'm just going to put the heat gun on again, and again I'm going to do it on the higher speed, and I'm going to warm it up again, and hopefully you'll see it change. So you go on top, and as soon as you see it change, move on, because like I said, once you've heated it and you overheat it, or if you overheat it, you'll find that the embossing powder, look at that sparkle, you'll find that the embossing powder will just peel off. Right, so what I'm going to do with this is just leave it so that you've got a little bit of a border round the outside. And I've not got my die cutting machine out, so just bring that in, the little baby one, for you to see how I do this. So you put that on there, and then we're going to go to the corresponding die, and we're using the 4-petaled, and it's the biggest one. And what you can do is place it on there, and you can easily see through the points, line up with the longest, and you can see equal distance either side, and you can line it up. If you want to stick it in place, you can do, and all I use is repositionable tape. And then put the plate on the top, run it through. And take that out. Be careful with the vellum as it is quite delicate, and then push it out. So you can see with that it's quite central on there. I just found it easier to stamp first and then add the stamp first, add the embossing powder, and then die cut. I just found that easier than trying to line up the stamp onto the die cut, especially with vellum. So what we can do with this is, I've got one ready already. I'm just going to use the bone folder and just be really careful. I'm holding it here because it's quite thin just there, and just run it over, holding it at the bottom, run it over. Again, do this. With the smaller ones, they're more delicate, so just be really careful with those. And then you can bring in your embossing mat and just get your ball tool, press in the middle, and it just raises the flowers up. It will flatten out a little bit. Like I say, it flattens and curls up when you put the glue on there. So you'll need to wait for the glue to dry. So all we're going to do, if you've got one where you've slightly misstamped or it's not central, you can decide to put that one on the bottom. So I think we'll put this one on the bottom, small blob of glue in the middle. Where's my tweezers? Can't live without my tweezers. And we're going to offset it, press in the middle, and just hold that down for a little while. And the gems that I'm using are the champagne, and we're going to be using the larger ones as we're using the larger flower. So we're going to be using a big one, and then put a blob of glue in the middle, lid on the glue, and we're going to add that to the centre there, just pushing down on the gem. You'll get glue oozing out, and as you can see, I don't know whether you can see that that's curled up. So just leave that to dry one side, and then when it's come out, you can shape it back up and you can round it again, but with having the wet glue on it, it's just completely flattened it. So leave that to one side, let it dry, and then you can shape them. Again, put the lid on the gems, move stamps. Right, so now we're coming to put anti-static powder all over. So we're going to be putting flowers in 2 of the corners. So I've already got the layout organised. So I've done the 4 petaled, I think that was the second largest. Then I've used the 3 petal second largest, and then I've used the smallest 4 petal. I have decapitated a couple of the smaller petaled flowers, so just be really careful with them. So we'll bring the card back in, move these to one side, and these are going to be arranged in alternate corners. So I think we're going to bring that off the corner, have that one there, that one there, and those there. You can add foliage onto it as well, but I'm not going to for this one. This one's actually for my husband's godson, who's getting married at the end of June. So this is actually his wedding card. So hence why I've chosen this colour scheme. So we'll glue those in place, and I'm going to use Pinfair glue and a cocktail stick. And what I'm going to do is turn these over. I don't know whether I'm still in shot over at the side there. Yes, I am. And use a cocktail stick and put a small amount on the back. Obviously, with this being vellum, if anything goes, we're sticking this on the back of the gem. So what I'm trying to say is you're not going to see the glue behind it. So don't squash it down too much, because you will see the glue. I'm just going to add a little bit more to give the largest one a bit more dimension. Put the lid on that whilst we're doing it. And this one is going to go in the corner. How would I decided we were going to do it? Like that. So just push it down until it's caught the card. Now this one I'm going to do like that, just leaving a slight gap in between. And then once the glue gel has set, you can shape them up and raise them up if they've got a little bit flattened. And this one I'm going to put just here, and this one just here, and then we're going to repeat it. I'm going to turn my card round and we're going to repeat it in the other corner, exactly the same. So we'll just add the glue gel onto the back, and can do it all in one go. Just add a little bit more onto that one. Gone quiet. Precise work. Right, so we've added the glue onto the back there. Bring the glue up to the top. One trick to keeping this so that it doesn't dry out is that every time you use it, don't know whether you can see, bring the glue up to the top and leave the foil top in the top of the lid, and that tends to keep it, touch wood, I haven't found that it dries out, because there's nothing more annoying than trying to use your glue and it's dried out. So again, we're going to put these in the corner, check which way I did it before. Yeah, so I'm going to put that there. Then we've got the 3 petaled one. Was that on there? Yeah. So I'm going to put that there. The other 3 petal, put that there, and then the smaller 4 petal. Again, like I say, once it's dried, you can shape them up if they've gone flat. So there we go. I thought I'd done that the wrong way round, but I turned it upside down, didn't I? Phew. So there we've got the finished card. And what I did with the original is put pearls and gems down here. So you can add those if you want to. Let's see. Probably just add the smaller ones. So 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to do a big one in the middle and 2 smaller ones. You can add random gems around, but I don't think this needs it because it has got quite a bit of bling with the embossing powder. But I think that just finishes that off. And all I would do is glue that on with the PVA glue. So there we go. There's the finished card. Hope you like it. Hope you get to try that out. And that's it. So I'll see if I can do another video over the weekend, because I know quite a few of you have asked me to show you how I've made particular cards, but that's that one. Okay, enjoy the rest of your bank holiday weekend, and I'll be back soon. Thank you very much. Bye.